Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This is CoinsKid. Just come down to Bitcoin. We got the CoinsKid crew. So at the minute, just please remember, you've not lost the low yet. That's all I can say to you. You know, the macro is really, really rubbish, isn't it? It's not looking too clever. But one thing you've not done yet is lost the low. You know, and if you do lose that low, like I said to you, that's my exit strategy down there. And you know, I'm not necessarily going to hold on to a falling knife. Because if we do start to go, you know, especially if we start to come down and we take out this yellow line here and we turn that into resistance, for me, I think, you know, you're in a massive correction here, probably a multi-year bear from this point, and it is sort of marrying in with the macro environment. But until then, you have actually bottomed out here. You're coming into resistance. You're coming back for support. You're calling up in some kind of compression pattern, coming back where everyone's getting really bearish. But what you're doing, you're sort of consolidating down here, and it's going up, it's going down, and it's shaking people in, shaking people out. You know, and this is what it does, and this is what the bottoms are like. They're very, very volatile at the minute. You can see so much up, so much down, and people are getting shaken in and out, and that's the way it is. So, you know, yesterday was some beautiful trades down here. I'm going to show you what I went through yesterday. Yesterday, after I made the video, I went to a friend because he wants to know how to trade, and you know, I was around my friend's house and I was showing him, and we was looking at 15-minute chart and 5-minute chart. That's not something I usually do with you, but today I'm going to show you what I was looking at, and it was a monster opportunity, and we played it in real time. You know, so just there, I can show you what happened. We've got this breakout here, haven't we, on this compression pattern on the 4-hourly time frame. Just there, okay. So we've got this compression pattern. We actually broke out, and what we did, we dropped fibs on here up to this low, up to this high, sorry. So you can see as we broke out, we called up, and then we ran into the 0.5 fib. Do you see that? So it's a key level resistance right there. It was looking a bit toppy. I anticipated coming back to the 382, holding it, calling up, and then continuing. But at that point, we didn't get that. And just here, when I started to zoom on the 5-minute time frame, and this is why, you know, it's so difficult to keep you updated in real time. And you do definitely need to follow me on Twitter, because I do a lot of posts on Twitter in real time. But if you take a look at the 5-minute time frame here, I'm going to teach you everything I can. Okay, so right here we've got really overextended in this massive move. You can see we broke out this level of resistance just there. Okay, so we came up and we started to create this massive rising wedge. Do you see this? This is quite a bearish pattern, so I'll always show you what I see. We traded this, me and my friend traded this, and he was so chuffed because this was literally his first ever trade, and it played out like an absolute boss for us. Okay, so just there was a level of support. Do you see this support on the 5-minute time frame? So you've got this support. Okay, this is the support of a ascending level of support, basically, which you're holding, you're coming up, basically, like that. But you was running into resistance just there, and what you've got is a ascending level of resistance, basically, which is points of contact. Always get as many points of contact as you can. So this, to me, straight away, as soon as this started to do something like this, I knew that this was a rising wedge. This is a bearish pattern. This is a reversal pattern. It doesn't mean you're going to crash to oblivion, but it just means that when you break down, there's a technical target where you first form the wedge all the way down there, and you can see that level of you know, support and resistance just there as well when it did break down. So I knew that this was a rising wedge because you've got the compression here, the pattern. You know, you've got your trend line touches as well. Always look for 3 at the top, okay, of a rising wedge, minimal, and 3 at the bottom, and it usually breaks down on the 3rd point of contact. So you can see we broke down, had a little bit of throwback into the pattern. It's squeaky bum time, because this is where we went short, okay, with a stop loss on this side, because negating this particular breakout would have been if this starts to come up. So me and my friend, we actually shorted this particular breakout just there. As it started to come up and made a lower high, we put a stop on that high there, because obviously if it starts to come up and takes it out, you're invalidating this rollover bearish pattern. Okay, so when this started to come down and started to come back into this pattern, it was a little bit squeaky bum time, but you know, we got stops just there on that high, and then we started to confirm this breakdown by, you know, this throwback here back into the pattern, start to come back down, run into resistance, confirming this previous support as resistance. You can see this on a 5-minute time frame. Okay, and then boom, we dropped like that. Okay, so we stayed on short. We didn't have a TP on it, staying on short, and what I did, I actually closed my short down here on this trend line, because I initially thought that we would actually bounce there, start to accumulate and come back up, but obviously we've not, and this has been a massive correction, basically. So, you know, these are the opportunities, and I'll always show you as well. And confluence to this as well was the RSI. You know, always look at the RSI on any time frame, but just here on the RSI, we got this peak, and then we started to create a bearish divergence just there. Okay, so a series of lower highs in the RSI, then a high highs in the price action, and you start to break down, confirming this support as resistance. Boom, you've got a short on your hands right there, and it was a fantastic short. Okay, and again, you know, it could have bounced there, come back up, and started to break back up, and you know, you would have been out of profit. But right now, I took my profit down here. You can see you've come back into this pattern, you've confirmed it as resistance just there, and right now you're breaking out of this pattern here, this green line, and right now you're confirming this is resistance. Okay, so it's looking like it wants to roll again, but we'll keep an eye on it going forward, because on the 5-minute time frame here, what you've got, not necessarily a bullish divergence, but what we've got is a potential ascending triangle. So if this doesn't drop again, you will have another throwback back into this pattern and start to come back up, because this is how volatile the markets are. It's unbelievably volatile, because potentially what you've got here is a pile of shorts, okay? Because what you had here, key resistance, is a pile of longs. They got liquidated. Just there, you're going to get a pile of shorts. Everyone's expecting you to do that, and it breaks the other way, you're going to get liquidated. Do you understand? So, what we try to do is count the waves. So you can see initially what we've got here is potentially, if you look at this particular breakdown here, like I said to you, everything moves in waves. Now, this could actually be some kind of big A, B, C correction. It does come down eventually, but just here, I would not necessarily be looking to short here. That's what I'm trying to teach you, okay? So for me, you go short at resistance and you go long at support. So right now, if we look at this and measure it in waves, you can clearly see that you have come down in 5 waves. So you've potentially got some kind of 1, okay, a monster 3, a 4 and a 5. So you could say, okay, well, this particular impulsive move down is done. So right now we're looking at retracement back up to this high, okay, and then potentially another drop, which is a C leg, okay, which could actually just be an A, B, C correction or some kind of flat correction or whatever, okay. But right now I would expect this to start to come back up, okay. And like I said to you, people down here are going to start to pile on the shorts. It could go the other way, and this is why right now I would be looking to long this once it starts to create a pattern with my stops down there on this low to negate the long. Do you understand? And this is what I teach on the channel. So right now I would be putting my longs down here, okay. So this is my stop loss, and I always teach you everything I can. So my stop loss is on that low right now, okay. I've not done it yet, but I'm waiting for this to sort of form a breakout. But this will be my invalidation right here of any further downside, because what we've got is a 1, a 2, a massive 3. Remember, this is the 5-minute time frame as well. We've got a retracement 4 and then a final 5th wave dump. So it's done everything it needs to say that this leg is done. Do you understand? So what I would be anticipating right now is a simple retracement back up to the high. So what you can do, you can drop your fibs on. So from this low all the way down here, you drop your fibs on up to this high, and you can say, okay, well, if we are coming down again, we do usually retrace to around about the golden ratio. So just up here, if we have a throw back into this pattern, there could be a level of resistance on the 382, but if it gets through that, your main resistance would be on the golden ratio at 0618 at 196 to 19630. And this is trading. This is what I try and teach you on the channel. So right now, if this does start to coil up like this, okay, and starts to come back into this pattern, okay, I would expect a level of resistance. But if you start to break out, I would be looking to take any profit on this long at that point, because this could be some kind of big A, this could be some kind of B, and then you've got a C leg drop, okay, which is some kind of flat correction or an ABC zigzag that comes right down to test these lows that we created in June, okay. And it's just part of the bottoming out process. So for me, I would not necessarily be looking to short here, okay. This is what I'm trying to teach you. Don't be greedy. Don't short overextension. Don't long overextension or greed to the upside, because you're running into key resistance. And here, a lot of people would have been going long here, but you're creating a very tightening rising wedge pattern, which broke down, confirmed resistance, confirmed support as resistance, boom, you've gone short basically, okay. So that's basically trading ranges. I'll try and teach you everything I can on the channel. Yesterday, looking at the 5-minute time frame, I've noticed some really, really cool stuff on the 5-minute time frame, which I will share with you eventually, okay. I'll make a dedicated video to that. So I don't usually zoom in on the 5-minute time frame, but I'll always show you what I see. So for me right now, I would not necessarily be looking at short in this position, although the shorts, we're going to start piling on and everything can happen. Obviously, if it was to roll again, then obviously you're going to come down, you're going to put another impulsive move down, and we can measure that. So if we go from this high here to this low, you can see that you've pretty much come down on the 1618 just there, okay. So if we do have another drop and we get stopped out, basically, you are looking, let me show you right now, the 1618 around about $18,259, okay. So it could be looking for that, who knows. And that is the bottom of the wedge, isn't it? If we take a look at the wedge, okay, so if there is another impulsive move down, you can see that you would be wicking off this wedge down here, which is the bottom of the wedge. Do you see that? So it's possible, but this is why you always apply stops in your trades. Now you can do all of this on Bybit. So what we're looking for is a reversal pattern. So at the minute, we're not necessarily seeing one. What we've got is a potential level of resistance like this, okay. So this is a resistance. We've had a little bit of a throwback, a little bit of a breakout, fake out, and we're coming back down, okay. So at the minute, you can see this is the high, this is the low. So let me get that wick on for you. You need to get that absolute knob on. So that's the low, this is the high, and at the minute, what you're doing, you've come up like this, okay. This is retracement to this high, looking for the continuation of a trend. So this is retracing back down to the low. If you start to see us lose the 1 fib, then yes, I would imagine you're down there on the 1618, and you have got another impulsive move down, and this impulsive wave down is not done. But right now I can count 5 waves in there, okay. Look, you've got, like I said to you, the market moves in 5 waves. So you've got a 1, 2 from this top, and then a massive 3. The 3 is usually the big, most impulsive wave. You've got a 4, and right now you've done everything to say you've got your 5th wave. So for me, I would not necessarily anticipate this, okay? Could be wrong, obviously. So what I will be looking to do right now is potentially long this with a stop loss down here on this low. Okay, so it's a very, very minimal risk trade from here right now. And what we're looking for is a reversal breakout. So if we go from here all the way down to this low, you can see it's around about 1.34% risk on this trade. And this is what I try to teach you, okay? So there's a 1.34% risk here. The fact is you could actually start to retrace through these fibs back into this pattern. Everyone's scratching their head like, what's going on? But what you're doing is retracing to this high, okay? So these will be your nominal levels of resistance. You've got the 382 at 1983, but the primary resistance where you do usually retrace to if you are in a big ABC is the golden ratio. So from here right now with a stop loss down here on that low, because it's done everything it needs to say that correction is in, if you start to break up here, you could be looking at a massive little long of around about a massive long of about 4.84%, you know, with your stop loss down there on that low. So this is trading ranges. These are the opportunities I try to deliver to you in the channel, you know, and you can do all this on Bybit. You can do it all on BitGet. Fantastic sign up bonuses. We had great fun yesterday shorting that, okay? And if these patterns start to emerge and, you know, they're telling you that the technical targets are there, you've got to adhere to that, okay? So right now we're looking for a reversal pattern at the bottom here. Potentially we're trying to carve one out, okay? We've got a bit of a fake out just there. So, you know, if we start to carve out a reversal pattern down here and start to break out this level of resistance, I would anticipate, okay, we've got a lovely little retracement back up to these highs here for Bitcoin when everyone's really, really fearful and bearish. But all you're doing is just chip chop sideways down here at the bottom trying to carve it out. So you understand that update. I hope it was thorough enough. You know, if you've got any questions or anything like that, or you're unsure of anything, you know, please do write in the comments and I'll try to reply to you as best as possible. So, you know, what I'm looking at a potential little long when everyone's piling on the shorts up to the golden ratio around about 19,630, you know, which would be a lovely little opportunity with a stop loss down here on that low, okay? Take care, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that little update. Stay healthy, stay strong, stay tuned. Bye-bye.